Whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hooker force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā kona whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira hira. Whakarongo pi kari kari mai, hare hare mai. O Taringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Oh, e te iwi tēnā koutou. E rongo ana koutou e kata ana mātou. We're in a bit of a hariko mood this afternoon. Hariko means happy. Tēnā koutou. This is me, Praone Gloin, mātou ko.
Taria o te anga.
Me.
Hariru roa.
And we hope you had a wonderful Christmas.
Yes.
It's probably still Christmas in a lot of homes. And I like to think of this time, just to make it a bit more Māori, te wā o te pōhutukawa.
Ah, yes,
yeah.
pai tēnā.
So the time of the pōhutukawa is that the pōhutukawa trees are flowering all around te motu. And it's also a reminder to us of the time our tūpuna, a lot of our tūpuna, the waka arrived, was when the pōhutukawa were flowering. Hope everyone's being safe and enjoying time with the whānau. Tēnā koutou.
Ko tā tātou ki waha mo tēnei wiki, ko te karawhiua.
Karawhiua!
Karawhiua.
Means give it heaps, go
Give it your
hundi,
all.
give it your all.
So a little bit like mo te he motonu atu.
Yeah.
Along those lines.
Can be used as a standalone expression. It's like, oh man, I'm going to do mean tomorrow, I'm going to go hard. And you go, yeah, karawhiua.
Karawhiua.
Or you could turn to your team and go, e hoa mā, karawhiua. Or, oh man, that looks nice as, I want to munch that up. Karawhiua. So yeah, karawhiua. Yeah, koe nā tātātou. Ki waha I tēnei wiki, karawhiua.
Karawhiua.
Our kaupapa for today is
Te reo o te kapahaka.
Ooh, te reo o te kapahaka. What's your interpretation of that, Hariru?
I'm thinking, Tia! Doits!
I'm thinking, So we're talking about the reo or the language of kapahaka. I read an interesting article just the other week by a parent who said he loves that his kids are into kapahaka, but he's not really into kapahaka. And he doesn't feel left out, but he realises that there's a huge majority of Māori and non-Māori, I guess, that are into kapahaka, that are out there. And actually, the three of us that are talking to you today, we're all into kapahaka, even though Tariao's having a break.
Yep.
This Taringa from her kapahaka te pau o mga tāwhiri because of te panikiretanga o te reo. Engari, e mihi ana kia koutou, and that's our kaupapa for today. You heard me and Hariru making some noises. Those are some of the sounds you'd hear in the kapahaka.
Some noises.
Yeah, you get a hope as well.
Yep.
And a kiawiri.
Waiwai takahia.
Waiwai takahia. Stamp your feet.
Hikoi.
Oh man, that's one that gets me. Hikoi!
Hikoi.
Ki muri!
Yeah. Kia kaha! But yeah, we're going to be talking about that, but probably about some of the things you'd hear in use in kapahaka and the type of language that is used, I guess, I roto I Te Haka. And for those of you that aren't au fait with that expression or kupu, kapahaka is referring to Māori performing arts, or traditional Māori performing arts, which is our waiata, our hand action songs, our waiataringa mahi poi. So you know what a poi is, along with haka. And we also have our traditional items, or our waiata koroua, or our waiata tawhito, or mō teatea. And then at each end is a whakaeke, which is your entrance onto the stage, and then your whakawātea. And if you're a singing group, you'll do a tira. Most teams do tira these days, although I think some shouldn't. And I know a lot of people use waiata tira to warm them up and to get them ready for the rest of the performance. Actually, those items there, ko te reo tērā o te kapahaka. So if you were to talk to a kapahaka person, if I say to Hariru, oh, what's your fella's tira? She would know straight away what I'm asking, talking about the choral. And if I was to say, have you learnt your tira yet?
I would say, that's my business. Me to know and you to find out.
Yeah, when you get a group of kapahaka people in the room, we all sort of speak this reo, te reo te kapahaka, but we're going to be focusing in on te reo Māori that is used in kapahaka. Nō reira, koe nā tātātou kaupapa. Hariru, what do you think we should start with?
Ngā kaupapa kōrero o roto.
Cool, that's a cool topic. Kapahaka is a great way to express to talk about, to debate any ideas about anything happening really within not only te ao Māori but the world, eh? So what are some of the standout items in terms of kaupapa that have come out?
I think the first one is like hitori, history of all your hononga from one iwi to another.
Ka pai. So ko hononga are your connections.
Yeah, I think you usually see those in the whakaeke, in our eke. The kapa making their links to the particular venue or the mana whenua of the place that they're performing at. Those are usually quite prevalent in whakaeke. But I think, the haka is always the item where you get to get that dig into whatever kaupapa that's going on at that time. So it's a bit of a native affairs, situation in kapa haka. Some kapa have all their take coming out and all the things they want to put into whatever thing that's going on in te ao Māori at that time. But yeah, it's really interesting to see the different perspectives of each kapa and their performances and how they express that too.
Ia tātou e kōrero kaupapa ana. One that sticks with me out of all these years of, and I'd say, we're still young, he roto I tēnei, but one I think that is a classic and goes down in history would be Te Haka of Wakahuia, their debut, Christchurch or Tautahi, and their haka was Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And that haka for me, it sort of set a pattern or template for a lot of political haka to follow.
What year was that?
86.
Yeah.
Yeah, to my knowledge, kapa haka hadn't gone so political yet. But I think one of the first teams to go there was Te Kotahitanga no Te Waipounamu.
Right.
So e pai tērā kōrero kau, ko te haka, te native affairs.
Yeah.
You can make a political statement. Of course, recently, te kapa te itikahurangi, te haka Kingi Kiriona, about whakaata Māori.
Yeah.
And even the use of props in that particular haka anyway, which is another reo, I suppose.
Yeah.
So definitely, ko nā kaupapa, as a composer, I believe that if you've got a strong kaupapa, the tito or the composition should flow from there and you won't have too many barriers or speed bumps in terms of composing the item. He rawe tēnā kaupapa ko te tito. And I suppose i roto i te tito you have a whole lot of language devices that you use, or figurative language. So I think we've talked about kupu whakarite, which are your metaphor and simile, and then the use of whakatauki and all those whakatauā ki pepeha. Whakapapa can be put through all those compositions, but he rawe tēnā kaupapa. Te kaupapa i roto i nā mahi tito. And then from the serious, you can go to the not so serious.
Yeah. And we all know what that is. That's why we're just having little giggles to ourselves. To explain.
So there's lots of... Actually, you can talk about something serious too and make it fun. I'm sort of referencing kapa ake at the moment, but one for me is Rikirangi Gage is a master of that. He can talk about a battle and a poi, or something tapu in a way Taringa. And you don't even know, as a kapa haka, you don't even know you're learning about those things because it's so fun and light.
Yeah.
Instead of making it heavy with tapu. So the tapu is still there, but in the performance you give the illusion that it's something quite light.
Yeah. Well, that was sort of like it was a strategy, that they sort of used even during the times of Te Pue. I mean, Ngā Rā o Hune is a good example of a waiata that is just, the tune is so light and lovely, you don't actually realise that every single verse within the song is a real dig at something. And he hohonu ngā kōrero o roto.
Yeah.
So I think some people that perform it these days get a bit confused on whether or not they're supposed to be happy, sad, mad or whatever. Smiling or doing a hard out pukana. But yeah, I think we may have, over the years and quite recently, we're getting more explicit in terms of what we're saying and we're kei te hāngai ngā rangi me ngā nekehanga ki te pū o te kōrero roto i ngā waiata. But there were heaps of subtleties. Subtleties.
It's one of those afternoons, Kiwi. There, you heard it here. Now, I've told you all about te reo tuatoru you're going to hear on this radio show sometimes, and that was one of them.
Heaps of subtleties in the old songs.
If you're not familiar with the waiata that Hariru was referring to, Ngā rā o hune is a narrative about what happened to some of our tūpuna from Waikato who, during the conscription of the First World War, because of the sayings of Kingi Tāwhiao, there was a movement within Waikato not to go and fight in the First World War. And we're going to sing here first verse of that waiata. Te tatau o te whare o te hoariri, te tatau o te whare o te hoariri. Ngā rā o hune kāra te pakanga ki roto Waikato ka riro ko te rau me tāna hoko whitu tūri atura. Te tatau o te whare o te hoariri. Te tatau o te whare o te hoariri.
I think Tariao should have led that one.
Yeah. Well, I took the lead. So as you hear, that's quite a light-hearted song, but the kaupapa, as Hadidi was saying, is quite a heavy kaupapa about our tūpuna that weren't going to fight. Yeah, I roto I te pakanga tuatahi.
And actually got conscripted anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And had to go.
Yeah, and the ones that didn't, they got locked up in Mautini, in Mount Eden. So as you can see, just the sharing of waiata, I roto I tēnei kaupapas, there's kōrero coming out. It's everywhere. So kapahaka becomes a medium to showcase that kōrero, to revive the old songs and keep them alive, and to write new material as well.
So when you write your material, what is it that you're trying to do? For example, is there a certain emotion you're trying to incite in the audience, or is there just a clear message that you want to give out on your part, on the kapa's part? Or a story you want to tell?
Probably taking some of our, ki tā tātou haere ki te matatini, our haka, the land wars, or the commemoration of the land wars has always been a strong kaupapa that I've held on to, and I've carried that through most of our stands, most of our campaigns, instilling that knowledge or those principles, I guess, around keeping the kōrero alive. That's one of my whakaaro when I've written those for the group. And then the other one is about the raukawatanga and ngā kōrero o tainui, really.
Right.
When I talk about the kōrero of tainui, it's probably some of the lesser known things that aren't talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I like going as a composer.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of things, I like to get some kōrero that isn't not the status quo, but isn't known, widely known. Yeah.
So we know what to expect the Mortai's next dance.
Got it.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's taking a kaupapa. Say, if I was to take a kaupapa that every single group would do, it's writing about it in a way that nobody else would. So that's how I always challenge myself, right down to everything we do, which also informs your tune, your rangi, and your choreography, I think, if you're in cohesion, yeah.
How do you think it is for composers who aren't like you necessarily the leader of the group that actually has a lot of influence over how that particular item is going to be executed in the end?
Well, I'm quite selfish when it comes to doing items and things because I don't want to go through the drama of having to change something.
There's a lot of drama in kapahaka.
I don't want to have to go through the drama of having to change something if I want to because I'm the kaiako. One, and second, I believe that the style of the group lies with the key composer of the group. Yeah, so the kaitito matua, ko tana mahi ki au he pupuru I te mauri o te kapa.
Right.
If that's not there, then yeah, it can be wishy-washy,
Right.
te tua, te rōpū, or there's no unity or cohesion with the other items.
Right.
Yeah, so those are some things that I'm conscious of. But for some teams, that works for them. It comes down to the kaupapa of the actual kapahaka. One thing is the taku ki te roto I nei taunei is how the language has changed. So the language is always changing. Even, and I've made comment to the man himself, the Timoti. If you looked at Timoti, Dr. Timoti, Sir, is it Sir Doctor or Dr. Sir?
They use either or when you get to you gotta pick one.
So Sir Timoti Kāretu, if you were to look at his compositions, say, from the 70s and compared them to now, you'd see the evolution of a composer there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you took someone like Ngāpō, Dr. Ngāpō Wehi, the late Dr. Ngāpō Wehi and his wife, and you looked at their compositions over a period from, say, Wairere 1970s, 80s up into Wakahuia, you see that he sort of stuck to his formula. He might have evolved in terms of the kaupapa he chose to write about, but his formula of composition, while quite simple, was very, very effective.
Yeah. I noticed that too, and I think there was a time where te reo waiata was quite simple, straight to the point, but there were a lot of layers to it that you were able to interpret from and take from, and then sort of moved into a time when everything became pretty long-winded, justifying the kaupapa and the kōrero and referencing different people who said the kōrero, and it became really almost essay-like in the items and the way they would execute the items in terms of te reo. Now it's sort of like trying to move back into that real metaphorical way of saying something where you can get different layers within it without having to explicitly say something that makes it quite one-dimensional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my advice too is you need to experiment. Ka te tiro whakamuri au ki e tai aku tito ngā, I'm making me feel really, really old now, but like back when I started writing in high school, ka tīmata taku tito waiata I reira. And oh man, I look back on some of my compositions, I would have been 16.
And you cringe.
Yeah, I cringe, not only because of my hapa, but I like when they use like 50,000 whakatauki, 100 kupu whakarete. So it's just full of all sorts of, every single metaphor I can think of, I chuck in there. Because I'm exploding with all these things I've learned. And I see that with composers. I used to actually say to people, oh, you need to cut back on this. Now I'm just like, nah, you've got to go through that as a composer.
Yeah.
Ia koe tito waiata ana. Everybody, you got to grow in your own way and then find your mojo, your style. So kareo e kaha ki te hunga tito I nei. Oh, too much, I just let them, I might make some
Does that mean that there's certain forums that, you would suggest new composers sort of express themselves in, like koronehana? Oh, those performances that aren't matatini. And so, oh, no, me whakamātau tō reo ki konei. Waihua matatini mō ngā praone gloins me ngā te karetu. Ke rawa koe ki tērā taumata nā. Tukuna kia rere. Yeah. Would you suggest that, or just because even if they do put what they put forward at a stage like matatini, they are being judged by apparently the best people. So it's probably a good learning experience in yourself in that way anyway. But just at the risk of maybe the Duncan.
Yes. Yeah, because even though those kaiwhakawa, they've got the whakamārama. Even though they've got all of that, that doesn't mean they're going to get it.
Yeah.
And that's where I think if you're in the game, o te whakataitai, ngā mai kapa aka, you're writing for you. When I say you, I'm talking about your kapa, the audience and the judges. So koe nā kāhui e toru, me rata. And you'll know if your group likes the composition, the kuka they take to learn, or they take, when someone takes to a waiata. Ia koe kōrero ana, I think about over the years, a lot of groups, they go to people with the knowledge base within their respective iwi or hapu. Ka haere ki reira, mā rātou nā waiata e tito. And while they might be really awesome on the marae as a pū kōrero, or a genealogist or the historian of the tribe of the iwi, they're not necessarily, or really they're not very good at composing. So it's finding the marrying of the two, because in composition, ko te wero is getting all that information out in 2 or 3 minutes of the item, and then choosing what's appropriate to put in there and what's appropriate not to put in there without sacrificing the story.
Yeah. And in that, within the audience, so you said ngā kaiwhakawa, the audience, and what was the other one?
Me te
kapa. Yeah. So within the audience sector, you've got another level of media. And so I don't know whether it's that prevalent yet in terms of composition, but certainly in terms of choreography and the delivery of those items, there's another level of strategy, I suppose, that kapa have to sort of think about, because there's the audience that kāri I tai a tinana atu that you still need to whakaratarata and you still need to engage with. So
He rau e tēnei kōrero. I hope a lot of Kapaka people are going to be listening to this. I think I might forward this to Te Matatini. Pehe o whakaaro tariao? How do you feel as a performer when you come to learn someone's composition?
I love it. I love learning like waiata. My favourite item is moteatea because of the kōrero, the reo in it, and like the hohoni stuff in it.
The hohoni stuff.
I like that stuff.
The deep stuff, e te iwi, the hohoni stuff, the
hohoni
deep
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably my favourite item to learn. And I just like looking at people's items.
As someone who likes moteatea,
Yeah.
I mean, I do too, but now I wanna, because I te patapataihi au e hariru, nā ka patapatai au i a koe. How o whakaaro, what do you think about the trend at the moment? When I mean the moment, probably the past maybe 10 years now, there's been a sway to writing new moteatea.
Yeah.
How o whakaaro mo
Ai
tērā?
pai ki au.
Ai.
Pai tonu ki au. Because tā mātou kaititoa Greg ko ia pia tētahi. I roto i a mātou ka hatito ana i ana moteatea, i ana pātere. So he's written 2 so far for our kapa. It's cool, I love it. Just learn more stuff about your iwi and gets the kōrero out there, hasn't?
Yeah. But he pai taua pāta I te mea ahakoa e rā mea hou e puta ana. You know, we still go back to the e patohau at the marae and that's it. You know, there's a corpus of maybe just 5 major moteatea within Tainui that we all sing all the time at every kaupapa, and those new ones aren't being used in that forum. So hea hua maumau pia ne.
Yeah.
E rā waiata kaua e waiho mā te tātamira noiho e rā e whakaputa.
Yes, koe kōrero na mo tērā, mo te corpus, te puna waiata. Me ngā waiata ka waiata tia tonutia e tātou. I'm reminded of a conversation, I think it was at a hui matatini, and it was about when matatini was first set up, back in the day was the Polynesian Cultural Fest, there was some reluctance from the old people of the time, so back in the 70s, to include moteatea as a competitive section. And they even had some rules like mo te waiata Taringa, that waiata Taringa was not to hei waiata tangi, so it was not to be used to mourn the loss of anybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then when groups started doing that, lament people in their waiata Taringa, it was actually quite a big thing of the time to be doing waiata Taringa like that. Yeah, I'm talking about the real te-jerking ones.
Yeah.
But about the writing the moteatea, even then, when more and more groups started doing that, there was a debate around the new moteatea or the new traditional.
Right.
And the argument was that there needed to be new songs written about today for today to be sung on the marae. But if you were to have a look, you know, going on your kōrero, how many of those waiata actually sung?
Yeah.
I mean, i roto i a Tainui is probably, I'd say Waikato was Waikato Te Awa, which was written, I think it was a competition. Hey.
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard it was written it was a part of a radio competition, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably the newest moteatea that's still sung.
Yeah. And then only 2 verses of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very interesting.
Except for when you go into Ngāti Koroki and then the second, the third and the fourth comes in.
Well, don't come to Ngāti Reko because we don't sing our verse. All I know is te rohe o te tunae or something. Ko tētahi o nā mea I roto I ngā maihaka, ko te whakaeke. We're talking about the entrance onto the stage now. In context, traditionally in competition, the whakaeke was likened to the pōwhiri or the whakaeke onto a marae. But now whakaeke has become this great big stage production for some.
Yeah.
Judging wise, kei te kōrero mo te tā whakawā e te iwi, so this is judging. Usually the experienced judges will be given the moteatea, the ringa and the poi and the haka. And the newer judges will be given the whakaeke and the whakawātea. And that's because those items are seen as modern items. But my argument is the more experienced judges should be on the whakaeke whakawātea because that's where in those 2 items you see an amalgamation of perhaps all of those things.
Yeah.
In a whakaeke you might have a bit of moteatea, some karanga, a whai kōrero, some poi, some maurākau, a haka, some singing. I think you have to have more of an eye and be a bit more tuned to judge those things.
Definitely. I think those would be harder to judge because you have so many different dynamics going on. And then there's that argument about mena rānei me u ki te tikanga o te whakaeke, te whakawātea hoki. Mena rānei ka ao hou rānei te, te tū o te kapa I a rātou mahi eke wātea hoki, And I think more experienced judges would be able to justify their judging of those items a lot better than newer judges.
Yeah, mo te u ki te tikanga. And that's probably one thing I missed when you asked me when I'm writing and teaching and stuff is that there's tikanga and what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't just write something for the sake of it. And I like to observe as best we can nā tikanga o tātou tūpuna. And for the whakaeke is one. I mean, for me, bare minimum is the karanga. In our whakaeke, we always have a karanga, no matter what the whakaeke is going to be about. And he karanga I roto. And I know some groups stick to that. Some groups they'll only ever whakaeke from one side of the stage.
Oh, yeah.
So those are all the things, because now you've got whakaeke from both sides or from the middle. Yeah. Oh, mea rā wāke, we'll be having people coming down on...
Oh, the sky.
Yeah.
Well, we got manu autes on the stage and we got whoops and...
Nō reira e te iwi. We had a really good discussion, actually.
It's only half finished too. To be continued.
Yes, to be continued. I think we'll come back. Kei te kimio I tētahi kupu pai rau atu roto I te reo Pākehā. But I'm just going to say, we're going to come back and me te whakawhānui, we will come back and we will elaborate further on te reo o te haka, o te kapāka, and perhaps talk about some of the phrases and things that you'd hear. We actually had a really good wānanga about kapahaka itself in this day and age. Hoi anō, there were lots of kupu hou in there. Me tahi o nā kōrero. He kōrero whakamiti ngā kōrero?
Doit!
Gotta go.
Oh, you meant to go tiha or something. Nō rere te iwi e mihi atu ana ko mātou tokotoru, ko mātou tēnei, te tokotoru, e mihi atu ana kia koutou I whai taringa mai kia mātou kōrero rero, e mihi atu ana kia koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
And our waiata this week, we're going to go with a bit of a Christmas carol, but a Māori one. Hāngu te pō.
Hāngu te pō. Nō reira, let's send all our whakaro out to our kai waiata. Karawhiua.
Hāngu te pō, tapu te pō, da
Hoi anō, e mihi tonu ana kia koutou katoa. Please drive safely on the roads I tēnei wā, te wā o ngā hararei. Anei mātou ko tariao, ko hariru, ko praone, e mihi atu ana kia koutou. And don't forget to use our kiwaha mo tēnei wiki, karawhiua.
Meri krihi me te Merry Christmas, Feliz Natal, koia.
Koia, hei kona mai.
Bit whakarongo pi kari kari. Gather up close everybody buddy. Taringa, taringa, taringa. Yeah, tahuri mai ki yo. Whakarongo ki te tangi a te kori mako. Korero flowing out the hooker force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds. Kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā ko nā whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira hira. Whakarongo pi kari kari mai. Hare hare mai, o Taringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani kani move that body. Kani kani move that body.
Taringa, he mea tuku nā te wānanga o Aotearoa. To listen to more episodes, search for us on your podcast app and subscribe. Taringa, whakarongo mai.